Now let's take a look on the fill types. But before we go there, let's create a little bit of fill here. I'm going to create a square fill. And when you create a fill, if you go here to the settings, we can choose from drafting fill, a cover fill, or a cut fill, or a building material fill. So cover fill, they're going to be fills for a surface, like how is the surface of a brick wall or a paver or grass, gravel. So they represent surface. You also have cut fills that represent materials when we cut them. For instance, we have here a representation for wood, or when we cut a brick or gypsum or earth and so on. So those are the main types of fills that we can use right now. When we created those slabs here, if we wanted to, we could have chosen a cover fill for the bathroom, for instance, to have tiles. You don't really need to create the 2Ds. It's best if you actually do it in the slab. So I'm going to take a piece of this slab out. I'm going to just add a new node here, offset this edge. And that's actually the way you do it. You need to have two different slabs to have two different properties. And that's okay because later on we're going to have those slabs into different composites. So now I'm going to go to the settings of this slab, and if we go here on the floor plan and section at the bottom, we have an option for cover fills. Right now we're doing a fill type foreground. I'm going to change this to a grid 30 by 30, and I'm going to choose the foreground pen to be this pen number 2 and the background to be white. So let's press OK. And there we go. We have a fill type of 30 by 30 for this floor. There's another cool feature here in the cover fill. If I go down at the bottom, we have the cover fill orientation. So right now, the orientation of this fill is on the 0, of the project, which is this point here where we started. So we can change it here from project origin to the fill origin. This means that Archicad is going to give us a custom place to start the fill, which is this line here that we can move around. So I'm going to select this and position right in the corner, and this is how we do the setting out for the tiling of the bathroom. But let's say I don't want to use this 30 by 30. I want to create a new fill type 45 by 45. And that's when we need the attributes for the fill types. So I'm going to go ahead and click on fill types, and here we can find all the fills that we have currently in Archicad. I'm going to select the grid 30 by 30, press new, and I'm going to create a new one called grid 45 by 45. And yes, I do want to duplicate the grid 30 by 30. Press OK. And I'm going to change the spacing here for 45 by 45. So now we have a 45 by 45. We could also change the angle of this fill if we want to, but we don't really do. So I'm going to go back to 0 and press OK. And going to this lab again on the settings, we should be able to choose from the grid 30/30 to the grid 45 by 45. But now let's say I want to create a new fill from scratch. I want to create a new fill for this kind of paver, which is called grass paver. So I'm going to go here to the side, and I already have done here using 2D lines, something that will give me that kind of texture. So all I have to do is select everything here and press Ctrl C. So I copy it. If you're on a Mac, you use Command C. And now let's go to the fill types. I'm going to press new again. Let's name it grass paver. And instead of duplicating from earth, I'm going to create a new symbol fill from scratch. So press OK. And here we're going to choose the availability. So it's not a cut fill, it's a cover fill. I'm going to uncheck cut fill here. You can also change the pattern that's going to show here on this corner, which makes it easier for us to find. All you have to do is to start clicking on those points to turn them on and off. And you can try to draw our grass paver. I'm not going to do that right now, so just going to show you how you start doing it. And here below, I'm going to press this button, paste. So it pastes all the drawing that we copied there. We can zoom out a little bit here to take a look. And it is already telling me that this drawing is 500 by 500, which is okay. So let's go ahead and press OK to save it. Now, if I go back to our fill, we should be able to choose this grass paver. And I want to do that here on the basement. For this paver on the entrance, I'm going to go to the settings, cover fill. Instead of foreground, I'm going to change this to grass paver, and the foreground line, I'm going to choose this very light gray, the pen 102, and the background, I'm going to choose white again. Press OK, and there we go. We have the paver that we just created. Creating fills is something that we do a lot along the project, and as you can see, it's a very intuitive process. So go ahead and feel free to create as many fills as you may need.